Hey, Brett Swarts here with Capital Gains Tax Solutions. We're at the Build It to Billion live first day event we've ever had in our history of our company, and excited. In fact, for those who don't know who we are, we really exist to unlock capital gains to multiply freedom and impact. And that starts with helping families build a mission, vision, values beyond just the wealth creation, the financial side, but also with the family, the spiritual, the emotional, the entrepreneurial spirit that you can pass on to your family for multiple generations. And we're here to inspire and encourage people on how to do this, bring live, actual tools and stories and inspiration on how to do this. And my journey starts actually here, my hometown, where we're actually shooting this right now in California. I call it Taxifornia these days, but it's a place where I grew up and I love. At the same time, it can be really challenging to build wealth in a way to defer capital gains taxes and also build wealth in a way that you can steward it for multiple generations. And so we're bringing these two ideas together: capital gains tax exit planning, along with Build It to Billions, stewardship of the family mission, vision, value with the wealth. And so today I'm excited to be hanging out with PWP, with BT Development, and these are some of our strategic alliances. And together we're going to make an impact, not only giving back through groups like Agape International, but also for you who might be watching this content and maybe want to be inspired to come to one of our next events, so that you too can really be intentional about your family, about your wealth, and about looking at multiple generations of impact. And so I'm excited to share this journey with you today, and I'm excited for you to watch this content. If you're watching this recording, thank you so much. If you want to learn more about us, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, go to Build It to Billions YouTube channel, and go to Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel. Brett Swarts here with Susan Trulio, Capital Gains Tax Solutions at the Build It to Billion event. We're at BT Development headquarters. Come on, let's go. Let's introduce you to some friends here. Mr. Zane, how are you, sir?
Good to see you, Brett.
This is Zane Jacobs, everybody.
Hey, guys.
This is Paul.
Hello. Good to see you today.
Pronounce the last name.
Bianchi.
Bianchi. This is Cherokee.
Pleasure. Glad to have you.
Sure, what's your first and last name?
Andy Jacobs.
Andy Jacobs. Andy's dad. This is Susan Trulio. We're going to come in and you're going to tour the entire place, and then we're going to see some live actual deals that has been developed here. So let's go.
Hey, I'm Zane Jacobs, the CEO of Parallel Wealth Partners, and just want to give you a brief introduction on me and what I do here for the company. So Parallel Wealth Partners is a capital asset firm. We structure investments specifically in real estate space. And so in here, we're inside the luxury development area of what we do inside PWP. And so working alongside Bianchi-Tillett, we, as a firm, take investment. What I always like to tell people is we take construction projects and we productize them into investment products. And so what that means is we will structure capitalization tables and rates, determine growth in areas, looking at data and analytics, and then mapping out rates of return or an investment horizon for specific investment tranches. And we place those funds into projects in a wide range, all the way from apartments to storage units to luxury housing developments to small infill subdivisions. And we work integrated in the field to watch and make sure that each timeline for construction is hit and met. And I oversee the entire operation. Currently, we have about an expansion of $720 million in projects that we are structuring capital on. And my role in overseeing all this is to ensure that the process is smooth when we're working with the investment firms. A lot of our investors come in as part of a greater deferred sales trust or hedge fund, and that's what we do.
Hey, my name is Cherokee Moore. I'm the Vice President of Parallel Wealth Partners. My job here is more than a job. On a daily basis, I handle client acquisition, operations oversight, and to make sure the financials are correct. My role is to oversee client acquisition, investor relationships, and partnerships. My goal is not only to help deliver an exceptional project to you, but to help build your portfolio.
Hi, my name is Corinne Rollings. I'm the Administrative Executive here at Parallel Wealth Partners. I oversee daily communication, manage scheduling, and support executive leadership.
Hi, I'm Andy Jacobs with Parallel Wealth Partners. Thanks for taking the time to stop by. My main function is I'm the local real estate guy, listings, sales, things like that. And then I also work with our admin executive, Corinne Rollings. We make sure that we put together a whole package providing information to not only the DST, but any other potential investor, along with the Bianchi group, to make sure everyone has the information they need for a clean, smooth process once the investment comes in the pipeline, goes down to the end, and that's what I do.
Hey, Brett Swarts here with my good friends. We got Zane Jacobs. Yeah, and Paul, you got to pronounce your last name because every time I try to pronounce it, it's always...
Well, there's 3 different ways. Bianchi, Bianchi. It's Italian.
Okay, whatever one you want to use for that. And Cherokee, the coolest name out there. By the way, you may not know this, but I'm a certified Native American. I have some Cherokee blood in me.
Oh, wow, okay.
From the years from my dad's side, and so proud of that heritage. Is that heritage part of yours too?
Yes, it is. On my dad's side, on my grandfather's side, I got a lot of Native American history there.
And then on the street side, it goes by Cherokee.
Yeah, Cherokee. Cherokee if you're not familiar.
When they can't
if you're not close to me, Cherokee. Yeah.
And we have Susan, the amazing Susan Trujillo. Susan, nice to have.
Hello.
Yeah, so we're here at the Build to Billions live day, 1-day event, and we're excited to be connected with everyone who's watching this, maybe on replay or as an opportunity for you guys to learn a little bit what we're doing. We're just gonna have a little roundtable discussion, and this is really the big thing. And we're here to build it to billions, so we can give more all but a way to help MVPs, and we do that through wealth creation, but also the stewardship of the capital of everything that we've built together, and also helping other families do the same. And so it's not just the exiting of assets and deferring capital gains tax, but also the ability to invest it in a way that's going to make an impact with housing, make an impact with communities. And so I'm going to start off with introducing you to Zane Jacobs here. Zane, hundreds, if not thousands of transactions over the years.
Love it.
Thank you for your military service.
Yes.
A Marine, always a Marine. Tell us a little bit about that and why we're here.
Cool. So my background is in military service, and then I was in law enforcement for a while. And then once I got out of grad school, I got into mortgage financing. And so I got a finance background, started doing mortgages for clients, started investing money, then started investing clients' money, and one thing led to another. But it was all in the real estate space. So now I'm a licensed DRE agent, have a master's in finance. But the primary focus for what we were always concerned with doing was low-income housing redevelopment. And the reason why is because there's systemic issues that have social impacts, especially on a geopolitical level, stemming from housing problems. And so our goal as a company was always about structuring capital in the real estate space to clean up and empower people. We live by a pretty simple but powerful mantra to engage, empower, and execute. So in anything we're doing, we're trying to engage the people, we're trying to engage the communities, we're trying to engage the players in that space, and then give those people what they need in order to actually facilitate change. And so we've had a lot of issues. People always ask me all the time, so redevelopment, wow, so what does that mean? So like we've redeveloped houses in Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati, some of the worst places in the country. Crack houses across the street. I mean, people shooting up dope in houses we're redeveloping right next door. And literally, Cherokee and I have always had like a fundamental heart for the kids out there because there's really no safe space for these people. So when we get involved in it, we've really wanted to put more money into cleaning up the parks and everything for after schools programs. But as we've done that, there's a bigger issue that we've been running into, and that is it's more of a pervasive political problem. The areas, they breed a lack of ethics. And so even when we clean up houses, a lot of the times, within a couple of years, they'll fall back to deterioration, or there's no initiatives at the local level for people to want to continue funding in the same blocks. We get in what's called path of progression zones, and we'll bring in private investment and start fixing up block by block, but then the government will let them deteriorate again, or won't, provide the proper policing in order to keep the areas clean, and investors get disgruntled and everything else. But one of the biggest issues we've ran into was the contractors. So a lot of the tenants that end up living in the houses we redevelop are grateful, and we've literally taken kids off cockroach infested floors. But I think the biggest piece is most of the contractors are just lackadaisical, unreliable, don't show up to work. I mean, we've pumped millions and millions of dollars into these streets time and time again, and we've literally watched contractors embezzle money, walk off the job site. So when people ask me what we do at Parallel Wealth Partners. Our main goal now, we are all licensed mortgage brokers, DRE agents, but our main focus is we're a capital asset group, and we structure capital specifically in real estate investment. And that's kind of how the partnership unfolded with Bianchi-Tillett. Let me dive a little bit more into that. So in the structuring capital, what I like to tell everybody is we take construction projects and we productize those into investment products, because bridging the gap between somebody wanting to invest in a construction project and actually doing the work is a wide gap, right? So getting institutional investors or high net worth individuals or private equity firms that want to get involved in that, especially like hedge funds, there's a lot of work that's involved in that. It's actually a full-time job. So when we were dealing with that, we had a lot of construction oversight, but we spent the majority of our time doing capital. So we started looking at doing luxury development, getting in a space where we could actually raise a lot more or make higher equity plays a lot quicker, and then be able to then use those funds to then drive back to low income redevelopment. And so that's where I like to say I'm a neurotic. I'm a perfectionist. I like everything done right. My counterpart here, Paul, is the same way. He's the first guy in construction I've ever seen where he says he's going to do something and he actually does it right. So it gives me the ability to then step out of that space and just focus exclusively on the capital piece, and then I can relinquish control for the construction. And so we ended up forming a relationship where we have a partnership. I focus on the raising of capital, the structuring of capital, and making sure that the investments we're making in the real estate investment space are sound. And then my counterpart here, Paul, he does all the work and he does it to a T. I won't steal his thunder. I'll let him talk about it, but that is how it's worked. And I honestly, in the last 6 months, we've diverted about 80% of the company's efforts to exclusively servicing Bianchi-Tillett. And the reason why is the expansion possibilities can go all the way across the nation, like Paul can handle. So I'll leave that and let Paul talk about that piece of it.
Yeah, Paul, tell us about your story and your expertise, third generation, contractor, and all you built over the years, and then talk about some specific projects we're working on right now.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, Zane.
Yeah.
So I'm boots on the ground contractor, right? And what I'd like to say is I learned it through osmosis. As a child, I watched my grandfather do the same type of work. I watched my father do the same type of work. I worked for both of their companies in my early years. I started in construction as a union plumber, going through the pipe fitters, steam fitters union. Learned all my, my business ethics going through that union training, getting into construction. It really made me appreciate construction. Started my own business in 1997, got my first contractor's license and never looked back. I worked on everything from subdivisions of hundreds of homes to apartment complexes, low-income housing. Where I found our passion was in the single-family residential construction, working directly with homeowners, making their visions come to truth. I really enjoy that part of the business. When I met Zane, it was basically overbuilding possibly a custom home for him and his family. Then he learned that we do infill subdivisions across the region. We are now branching down to Southern California as well as Northern California. I like to say there's no project too small that we won't do, but we're large enough to take on infill subdivisions, multifamily units, almost any type of project you can think of at this point.
It's amazing, Paul. And talk about the specific deals. We're doing a deal in Napa and San Francisco, Brentwood, Truckee, just anyone you want to pick there, and just kind of a little bit about like the process and the systems you have in place to make sure, like Zane said, we're delivering certainty of execution on time, on budget, right? Give us a little bit of just pick a sample deal.
Yeah, well, through my 30 years of being focused just on building luxury custom homes, and I won't say just luxury, but just homes for folks that need them. We found our model is simply buy a piece of land, whether it's a multi-acres for several homes or one lot for just one home. But mostly, since we started working with your group, we've picked up some projects. They're already under construction. I like the Bay Area. There seems to be a lot of people, a lot of unknown living situations for folks. A couple of years ago, they were all asked to leave the office and move out of the area into urban areas. And now they're all being asked to come back into the workplace near the city. And so there's a need for real estate for all levels of tech folks out there. And so what we've been able to do is just pick up some lots for those type of people. We've got homes under construction. We're finding the city is very easy to work with at this point. They've made some rules and some changes to help growth the city, right? They want to get the homes built as quickly as possible. We love that area as well as the Truckee, Tahoe area. The margins there are much better. We're able to do much better returns for our investors. So when the investors help us grow our company, we're able to do more of the infill projects as well for the regular families that just need places to live.
Absolutely. And just kind of give you guys a little bit of feedback on some of the deals that we love. And growing up here in Northern California, mostly in the Bay Area and Sacramento, we find this to be our home. We're now headquartered in Florida, have team members all over the country. But in particular, this deal we're working on and kind of closing out, it's a project in Napa, and the average cost to build is about $3 million total with the purchase of the land and cost to build, about $2 million for the cost to build, $1 million for the purchase of the land, and then the sales price about $5.5 to $6 million. So it gives enough margin to be able to take and bring a loan to BT Development to be able to complete these projects in whole. And so we are able to get excellent returns. If you're listening to this and you want to learn more, reach out to us. And on top of that, we're able to help you exit your Bitcoin businesses or real estate, defer the tax, and then get a compounding effect on your money versus just paying to 20, 30, 40% of it in tax. And so looking at your ROE, return on investment, return on equity, and then your ROI, return on investment, and combining the two creates an amazing strategic alliance for our company with BT Development and with Zane with PWP Wealth Partners. But for you, the investor who's exiting and having this team approach to helping you build and steward your capital in a meaningful way and compound the effect, which I want to just kind of bring that together. There's also deals in San Francisco, again, Truckee, Brentwood, a lot of in Northern California, even deals here in Sacramento as well. But I'm going to pass it over to Cherokee, who's also part of the team because it is a team effort. Cherokee, tell a little bit about your story, your focus, and how you help support the team.
Yeah. So Zane alluded to it quite a bit during his intro there. My name is Cherokee Moore. I'm the vice president of Parallel Wealth Partners. I am Zane's support system. I'm the vice president. I handle the day-to-day operations. That's my love. I'm more of a philosophical guy, right? I'm an emotional guy. Zane knows this, and I think that's why our dynamic works so well. I'm the yin to his yang, and so I believe that housing, your dignity is tied to your housing, and so it's much deeper than that. So to Zane's point, to bring it full circle, when we go to these ghettos, when we did redevelopment, we would literally see homeless kids. We'd go to houses where families lived and they had no roof on them, things of that nature. You see all that and you wonder, how can I fix this? What is the bigger goal? How can I steward the resources properly to make an impact here? That was our goal. Zane's brought me in. We've been rolling together business-wise for about 2 years. Friends, much longer than that. We've done a lot. We've seen a lot. And so he's empowered me with the financial literacy aspect of things. I'm licensed NMLS DRE just as he is. And that allows me to bring that information to places where they're not getting any of this. And so now we have this new opportunity with Paul, who's, I'll toot his horn and rub his shoulders real quick, probably the best builder in California, Northern California at least. We have this opportunity to help people build their portfolios, bring that capital back to these places that need it, places that are impacted.
Let me drive in on that a little bit more, because I think there's some more pieces to be said there. So to just tie all this together, Brett's talking about from an investment perspective, right? So the first questions that people throw at us are like, okay, how do we make sure this is secure? And, if you guys are developing at such strong equity plays, then why do you make it available to everybody? Think about it like this. Instead of trying to go deep, we go wide. So to be able to build out this construction firm and make it a multi-billion-dollar company, we keep going wider and wider and wider. And in lending, the average construction loan funds at like 65% LTV. So there's ample construction lines already set up for development. We use investor funds to secure property, to secure new projects, and then productize those and keep going out. Now, to bring that to Brett's point here, a lot of the projects we're picking up now for investors have a short runtime, short horizon, turning between 12 and 16 months. So they're incredible with high rates of return because the equity is so strong in that. Now, talking about what that means to what Cherokee's discussing. Paul is probably one of the best builders out here. So the type of projects we're building, they're in an insulated market. We're building custom homes for people that have money. Not only is your investment secured, but once those investment returns are then brought back to you, the rest of it, the liquidity that comes into the companies, is then being funneled back into these projects and low-income redevelopment. And also, Paul and I have been discussing creating a separate fund here in the near future where we're going to start building low-income housing ourselves for Section 8 throughout the Bay, some more lower-income apartment complexes, partnering with some of the cities in order to facilitate the need here, because it's not just in the Midwest, it's all over the place. And there's a need for that. So not only can you invest and make great returns with the entire team here, you can also then feel good about that investment because those monies are going to be then impacting nations all over the place.
And let me add even to that as well. So there's $100 trillion that's transferred in the next 5 to 15 years. This is the largest wealth transfer in the history of the planet. And it's happening mostly with the baby boomers to millennials, mostly in California, New York, New Jersey, these really high wealth states. And we're on this tsunami of wealth that's going to transfer. And it's either going to get taxed, or if we can defer it and employ it and deploy it to housing, we can start to end the housing crisis, okay? In fact, the other thing I want you to think about if you're listening to this is what's called truly passive income. A lot of us have been taught, hey, get to this fourth quadrant, the Robert Kiyosaki, but most people never actually achieve that. They stay in the top right quadrant, the top or the bottom left. Well, this truly passive income is when your money is really working for you versus you trading it for time, right? And so truly passive income is no shoes, no shirt, no problem. You're Kenny Chesney on the beach playing your guitar, and this durable, consistent income is coming in that can support your lifestyle and your needs. But more than that, the bigger picture is not just for you today or our clients today. We're looking for clients that want to have more freedom and impact for the community, for things that they believe in. And this is really key here, right? Truly passive income, we believe, is to your freedom and impact as compounding interest is to your money. And if you understand that concept and you dial in on, is it $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 per month, and you establish that, or you're not having trading time for that money, then any of the excess can be used for impact, okay? And it can help to end the housing crisis. It can help to, fight, like we're focusing today on Agape International as our impact group. It's human trafficking, right? Where literally women and children are being trafficked every single day. And the difference between selling your asset and having a roadblock of capital gains tax and having a great return, which can increase your ROE. Typically, we double and triple people's cash-on-cash returns from their current portfolio within the investment realm where most people made their wealth, or within the business realm. And this is the big tsunami opportunity to make a huge impact, but it takes an entire team of experts that have decades and decades of experience, which brings me to Susan Trujillo, who's a part of Capital Gains Tax Solutions team. Susan, over 25 years as senior escrow officer with top title companies across mostly Northern California.
Right.
Share a little bit about your story and your passion with growing with and being a part of Capital Gains Tax Solutions.
Sure. So yes, I grew a lucrative escrow desk in Silicon Valley and worked with a lot of the luxury high-end real estate agents and brokerages throughout that area in my career. Then I moved to Sacramento. Prior to that, I had met Brett Swarts in Los Altos, where we connected, and I started handling the deferred sale trust transactions. And with that, we built our alliance, and now I'm here to help build the relationships that I have throughout the year with the partners here. And so with that, I will, be helping with the business development and transaction coordination of those deals.
And it really does take a whole team to execute on the transaction side, on the development side, on the capital gains tax exit planning side. And it's really forming fractional family offices, guys, what we're doing. Yes. And as the wealth comes in, we either become a part of the client's team, or we actually literally build the team, because a lot of business owners and even investors, they've done it all themselves, and they're aging. Not only that, but they don't basically have the level up of the advisors, right? The financial advisors, the tax attorneys, the CPAs, and the people that they can really count on within the real estate world and the business world. And so I want you to be thinking of this as like real estate investment advisors, right? Is really the thought. Like, instead of financial advisors with securities, which is an important part of the team, you have real estate investment advisors that can make excess durable returns that you can see, feel, touch, and know. And so I'll end kind of with this story, and then we're going to continue on our journey today. Warren and Catherine Strand, maybe Zane has another word too,
yeah.
who had two daughters that were 10 years old. They had daughters later in life. Mm-hmm. And Warren is finding himself driving from 4 hours back and forth with traffic to Placerville with a $2.5 million apartment complex, 15 units, great property, great location, all rented, all of the things. But he found himself trading what was priceless for what was profitable, right? It was profitable, the real estate, but what was priceless was the time with his daughters. And he was saying, I have 8 years left. In fact, we may not know this, but 85% of the time that you ever spend with your kids is before they're 18. I have 5 kids myself, married for 16 years, and this is a real urgency to spend and develop and invest into my children the best I can. And they were sensing that too. And Warren was back and forth. And the challenge was he was spending his time with his property, which was profitable and he liked, but it was costing him time with his family. So we sat down, we mapped out a plan. Guess what it wasn't? It wasn't the 1031 exchange. And here's why. He didn't want to trade 15 units for 30 units. He had 15 problems in a sense. He didn't need 30 problems, right? And so we said, okay, what do we do to deferred sales trust? Eliminate all of your problems for your time to decrease. And let's now take your NOI 120,000 to 190. And a lot of people's brains explode. They go, well, you're telling me I don't have to trade my time for the dollars? No, you can get to truly passive income. You can diversify your wealth. And guess exactly what we did. So we said, let's go. And so we exited just before the interest rates, almost when those fires were going on, right when the fires were going on, got a good price, deferred the tax, paid off of his debt. And now we're in a position where they're a live investor going into a deal right now with BT Development. Yeah. And we have multiplied not only their freedom, but also their impact. And
so there's a couple, there's a couple of pieces that are very critical in that. So in our space that we can add to that. So not only is the capital gains piece just absolutely critical, because if you're not using your money to compound your own wealth, you're giving it to a government who's then mismanaging it. And look, I don't have a political affiliation or anything here to say both sides mismanage money. I mean, if we go into the cities, I don't care who's running, what state it's in. We have ghettos in every state, and we have money going in places it shouldn't go, and money that's desperately needed to go in other places. So the best person who's going to steward your wealth is going to be you, combined as part of a greater team with guys like us. All right, so and women as well. So like what I like to say is we create a giant value chain. So Brett once told me a long time ago, I think it was like 8 years ago now, hire the who, don't be the how. So that's always stuck with me, because why would I want to spend my time trying to perfect every industry? I've already, sunk my teeth in that in construction when we have one of the best developers here. As far as capital gains diversion goes, why would I want to try to figure out how to deal with the tax problem when we got people dealing with it, or from the capital aspect? And so what I like to tell people is there's two real approaches to this. You have front-end investing and back-end investing. It may be that somebody's in a space where they want to take 15 units to 30 units, maybe in a space where they need more time. The reality is we can build so somebody can invest to own, and we could get capitalization rates that are a lot cheaper. Say somebody did want to hold the project. We could build a project for somebody that on the market would be a lot more expensive to buy once it's built, as opposed to if they invest with us, then we build it for them and it's now at a cheaper rate for them to hold, and we could write the loan for them when it's completed. They could also exit out and park those monies in a better space and get more time. We literally host every opportunity to manage your wealth in the right place, especially through the real estate development aspect. And so that's what I tell people is the power of the team as well as the power of development is what provides opportunities for everybody. And going back to just real quick, the Agape Freedom Fighters, we have a huge heart for this, because the neighborhoods, like people say, well, I hear these statistics, people are being human trafficked. Literally, in the neighborhoods we work, I watched, and it almost broke my heart, I watched a news thread pop up on my phone literally 2 weeks ago where 2 little kids were found dead in the trunk of their aunt's car driving around in the neighborhoods we work. There are literally hundreds of kids that there's no supervision, no oversight, like somebody could drive in a van and load them up. The police barely even go in these areas. So when people are like, is the problem real? The problem is beyond real. And like I like to tell people, you throw a rock in the pond and you see the ripple effect. Like, not only can you throw the rock in there if you put it in the right place and make great financial returns and protect your money, you can also have a systemic impact through other organizations that are partnered with us, like Agape Freedom Fighters and all these other people, where you might not even know it, but while you're sleeping, they're dealing with problems that are then cleaning up the community. We also, are involved in building a hospital in Africa. That's something that we've privately funded, and we're going to continue to do a lot more work with that. So I tell people as long as we're stewarding their money in the right direction, then we can take the excess resources and continue stewarding families towards health.
100%. And we're going to go on this journey with you now. Actually, we're going to all get up and walk down to Paul's office and interview a couple other people. So let's go.
Upstairs office, we have downstairs operations, upstairs operations. Mostly up here, we have our field management team. They're project managers and superintendents. most of the time, they spend half their time in the field, half their time in the office. So there's a couple guys here, I believe. We got Logan here, young Logan.
How's it going?
One of our best project managers. So I've got project managers that have 30 years experience in the field, and I got young project managers that run circles around them with 5 years of experience. So this is the
We do our
future.
best.
This is part of the future of our company is guys like Logan. And he recruits very good, young, hardworking folks.
And Logan, what do you best like about what you do here with Paul and BT?
I just really like the wide variety of projects we got going. I mean, we do customs, subdivisions. We're doing some townhomes right now.
Multifamily.
Multifamily. Yeah,
Did you grow up
just
in the real estate industry, or is this kind of what's your
My dad
background?
was in building for a long, long time. So.
His father was a top executive at Lennar, so a little bit of that build fast and cheap rubbed off on him.
Okay, there you go. That's amazing. Thank you, Logan, for
Yeah,
all
of
you're
course.
doing. All right. Who's next, Paul?
Okay, so in this office, we've got Chris Varney. Chris is a combination of project manager and superintendent. Generally, we have our project manager groups you'll see downstairs, and then our field superintendent. Chris can wear both hats on any given project, any minute of the day.
Absolutely.
And Chris, what do you like best about what you do here at the BT?
Really, it's hands-on with the clients, getting them what they want. Just trying to make sure that they're overall happy with the build process.
It's the most important part, right? If the
Yeah.
client's not happy and feeling like you're helping them with their dreams, then it's
Exactly.
nothing else really matters. It's the big domino. Did you grow up in real estate, or what's your experience with it?
No, I grew up in construction myself.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been in the field
Okay. Yeah.
for 30 years.
Yeah.
I started framing when I was in high school.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So he grew up in it, and the background. And what was your hometown?
San Andreas.
San Andreas? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for your service and everything you're doing. Keep up the good work. Huh?
Yeah. Nice to meet
All right, keep going, Paul, huh?
All right, absolutely. So like I say, most of the other folks are out in the field. I think we have possibly one of our field superintendents in here. Yes. Hi, this is Colton, field superintendent.
Hello.
Hey, Paul.
So Colton's an example of someone who spends 75% of his time in the field and 25% in the office. He was recruited by young Logan, so he's another part of our future.
Okay, awesome. What do you best love about BT and working in construction and development?
Our team here is very connected. Everyone works together. So if you ever need assistance, if there's anything you don't know, everyone is here working together. So the projects get done very quickly.
Awesome. And did you grow up in real estate, or what's your background in it?
I did not grow up in real estate. No, my family owned a Peckerman business. So I worked with them, learned business from there, and then I moved on and started my own business. And I do junk removal. And now I came in here, and this is now my main gig.
That's amazing. Great background. Thank you for sharing and doing everything you're doing. Keep working hard, all right?
Thank you.
All right.
Bye, Colton. Thank you.
You're welcome, Paul. All right, we're going to head downstairs, Paul. Does that sound good?
Yeah,
Absolutely. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Let's go. Of course. Let's speed up.
So really, it's a group of companies, right? I'm the founder, CEO of all the businesses, all owned under this umbrella. So come on in here and I'll show you the construction division of our company. That would be Bianchi-Tillett Developers.
Where are we at now, Paul? Where are we in here? What is it?
So this is what we call our showroom office. So this is where we meet with clients. Every homeowner that buys a project from us, they'll come in here and meet with us. Our designer will have spent some time with them. She'll pick out their design of all the finishes in their home. She'll put it on the table and get their buy-in, right?
Yeah.
If they want to make some changes, they can do it in live, real time right here.
Let's talk about practical deals that are going on. Like, so sometimes because these deals that we're looking at right now, they're fully permitted, they're fully entitled, right?
Correct.
The designs are often already in place, the architectural drawings, I mean, they're all ready to go. This is
Correct.
part of the opportunity we have right now. It'll take about 10 to 12 months to build, but oftentimes about 80% or so that it gets done, start getting people looking up and wanting to buy it. And then they want to make some custom changes, right? So talk about that strategy of where you kind of open up to put it on the market.
So two aspects there. So yes, it's true. We're mostly buying lots that already have fully developed plans with permit in hand. That's how we can get to market so quickly. But with that, when you buy plans that are already developed, they already have their own design criteria built into the plans. one of the things we immediately do is put our own touch on it, right? We will change anything that we think is going to help improve that property and help it sell for more money. And so that's the front line of my interior designer, right? She'll go through with the project manager, she'll change countertops, tiles, aesthetics on the outside of the building. But then yes, once the project is about 70% complete, then we put it up for sale. We try and get a homeowner to buy it, right? We'd like to know the day we finish, we already have a buyer in place. Our interior designer will then meet with that homeowner right on the last final touches, and they'll have an opportunity to change anything from countertops to flooring to tile, all the finished surfaces in the home. And it gives them a chance to, that homeowner, customize it to their liking.
Zane, what do you love about that? I mean,
so nobody,
the best of both worlds, right?
Nobody knows better than the developer what market conditions look like. So I don't know, everyone's going to come in with a different experience level, but what I can say is Paul develops some of the most high-end homes there are. So he's going to be able to give fresh perspectives on like what going trends are, what people like, especially using interior designer. But there's even more to that, especially from the investment aspect that I want to address. Paul, why don't you give me the example about how your superintendent and foreman went back out there and found a new way to do the subsurface or the grading and saved a couple $100,000? Because this is stuff, yeah.
So it's part of having the experienced project management team. So again, we are buying these plans already fully permitted, but our project engineers, they'll go through the plan just like they did on the Arenda project, one of the very first projects I think we did with your group. And they found a way to reduce the cost by $200,000 just by looking at the foundation. The foundation being in the Bay Area, they had about 25 piers to be drilled down into the ground to hold this structure. Project manager went out there, stood on the dirt, called the city engineer and his soils engineer and said, why do we have to drill on this dirt? They could not come up with a good reason. They let them change the foundation plan because basically the ground was so stable it did not need those.
Right.
If you'd have been in the Bay Area, close to the water, maybe, but not this far away. The architects in the area, they just design everything like that. So anyhow, yes, we value engineer the project as soon as we get it, find ways to reduce cost and time. Time is absolutely the most important thing.
So that's critical. That word right there, we're just going to throw that back out there for you guys that are watching this. Value engineering. Remember that. That's a huge piece to the investment cycles, value engineered. Stepping in, doing the oversight, doing a deeper dive into it to make sure that what we're doing makes sense, especially from a fiscal perspective.
Yeah, and also just a reminder, these luxury homes give us excess margin for returns for you, the investor, so that, again, there's opportunities to also do multifamily housing, which we'll touch on other projects as well. We're focusing kind of on this luxury space, but also for you as your returns to go and do other opportunities, other deals. And so it's really about the flywheel of the capital. I want you to think about the asset you're thinking about selling, Bitcoin, business, real estate, and your ROE, your return on equity. Then I want you to move to a mindset of return on impact, ROI, return on impact, right? And as you exit and the movement of the money is deferring the tax and redeploying. And if you can, 2, 3, 4x that ROE, you can maybe 2 or 3x your ROI, your return on impact. And every time you do that around the flywheel, there's no leakage of the capital in tax, and it's efficient and it's building for impact right now. And so that's just want to always remind you of that theme. Paul, should we keep going and interview a couple other folks here?
Yeah, absolutely. Come on this way. One of our project managers actually is in the office this morning instead of in the field. This is Dave Garland, one of our senior project managers.
Dave, you want to stand up and come say hi?
Sure.
You're kind of tall. How tall are you, sir?
6'2".
Okay, that's pretty good. Your kids as tall as you?
Yeah, actually 6'4".
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
You want to share a little bit, Paul, about him?
Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Garland has been working in the market for
A long time.
30-ish years. We've crossed paths many times. I was very grateful when he joined the team a few years back, but he's one of our senior project managers. He's got an eye for detail. He finds ways to value engineer our projects and to get them built on schedule.
Yes, that's it. Value engineering is what it's all about. So I don't know where to start.
What's your background? Did you grow up in real estate?
So yeah.
What's a little bit about that? Your
Yeah,
story?
so grew up in real estate. I fell in love with custom homes a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
Started in the high volume home building industry and then worked my way into where I'm at here today.
What do you best love about what you do with BT Development?
I just love building homes. I enjoy meeting the people, seeing their vision, and then making their vision come true.
Deliver the dream for them and above expectations and deliver on time and on budget?
On time, on budget.
Yeah.
But really just they have an idea in their mind, they find a lot, and they have a vision of a house, and we assemble all the players together And we're able to create this beautiful, basically drawing that we turn into a completed home.
Amazing. Love it. Thank you for your service and everything you're doing. Keep working hard. Keep it up.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Next one, Paul.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
We'll come this way. This is what I call my accounting arena.
So this is like the brains and the keep the wheels on the bus going here, Paul. What do we got here?
Yeah, so we have Janelle. She's our office manager.
Hey.
Janelle's been with me several years. She's the office manager. Sometimes she refers to herself as the co-CEO. She really has a good feel for everything going on around her.
Co-CEO. What do you best love about what you do here, Janelle?
I do a little bit of everything. I do with Paul with his stuff that he needs help with. I help the project managers. I help with the accounting. I help keep the office going.
Basically, you're the MVP, right? The most valuable player on the team. I mean, come on. Without Janelle, don't the wheels of the bus just maybe kind of roll off?
Don't say that too loud. She'll want another raise.
That is true. This is why I have to refer to myself as the co-president and CEO.
I love it.
I keep this place going.
Absolutely do. And so walk me through how long you've been working with Paul, and then give me like a cool memory that just kind of sticks out to bring to life, like, something about it. I don't know. What comes to mind?
So when I first started working here, I remember we were in this very small office. Okay. It was 3 desks, and there was so much going on, and to see the growth from moving from that office to here and seeing, it's awesome to be a part of that.
That's amazing.
So
how long ago was that? When was that?
I'm sorry?
How long ago was that? How long have you been working with Paul?
Oh, almost 5 years.
Okay, awesome. So that's tremendous growth in 5 years.
Yeah, so it's just really amazing to see how much we've come from that little office to here and what the projects that we're doing. So I love doing that.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing. Keep up the hard work. Paul, who do we have next?
We have Nicole. She works in accounting with Janelle. She's responsible for all the accounts payable. So all the subcontractors send their bills in. Okay. She makes sure they get placed to the right project, the right categories. She makes sure all the project managers approve them. You might want to talk about that.
What do you best love about what you do, and what's your love about your background?
Okay. What I love about what I do. It's really, I love the projects that we do. I think it's really interesting the amount of variance there is between all the different types of things we've got going on. There's constantly things in motion, things that are changing, things that you can kind of be curious about, which is really fun. A little bit of my background. I got my degree in business and I moved over into accounting and ended up here.
Sounds like you've been good with numbers, you're good at multitasking, and you're curious to find problems and solve them. Is that a good summary?
I get very far into out into the weeds on details, so it's really good for accounting.
That's important, right? Because you got to collect. You don't collect, the business, kind of stalls because the cash flow gets all out of whack. So it's super important to be on that side of the
Absolutely, and to make sure that is what is going out, should be going out.
Yeah.
So making sure I'm a real stickler on making sure everything gets approved first.
Yes, that's good.
She does a great job finding the smallest detail. If a subcontract tries to bill us incorrectly, which mostly it's overbill us, right?
Sure.
She'll even help them out if they underbill us. And you know what? We want to be fair. We want to make sure they're paid for their project, for their work. And so she does a really good job finding that.
Well, you're doing an amazing job, and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right. Who we got next, Paul? Anybody?
Yeah. Let's meet Alex.
Alex, come on. Oh, how are you? Nice to see you again.
Yeah, likewise, man. It's been a while. It has.
Okay, well, first of all, how tall are you, Alex? Are you the tallest in the office?
I think so. About 6'6".
Okay, all right. So you feel like you're still growing, or when did you stop? What did you do?
I'm done.
Okay, all right.
I know what pair of shoes to buy now. So.
Go ahead, Paul. Tee him up.
So Alex is who I call my resident licensed real estate agent, right? He oversees a lot of our purchases when we're buying a piece of property and some of our listings. He'll head up that. You want to talk a little bit about
your story, your
working
focus,
with us?
Yeah. Sure. So I've been a real estate agent for over a decade now. My career began over in Missouri. I moved over to California about 6 years ago, and then that's actually where Paul and I crossed paths. And I think some of the best deals are the deals that you don't do. So I've brought in a lot of projects to Paul that didn't quite fit the bill, and that's what I think makes Bianchi-Tillett really a shoe-in for all of the luxury builds that he does, because he makes sure that he takes on something that not only that he can pour Bianchi-Tillett's excellence into, but that also represents his brand and what his clients really want. So
that's a good point. We don't just put any project on the project list, right? They've got to be vetted out by the project manager, Alex. If we know we can build it for X and it can be sold for X, then it's worthy of the project board.
Yeah, it's important, right? Yeah, because I think it's like Warren Buffett, he talks about the ability to say no, and you're saying no to 90, 95, 98% of the deals. And the key is the volume to see. Talk a little bit about the relationships that Alex brings and you guys bring for the real estate community to bring you these opportunities, because they know that if you say yes, you're going to close, and then B, you'll be a quick no if it's not a good fit. You want to touch on that?
Well, it's all synergies, right? Synergistic effects. By having guys like Alex and Zane's team and all the people we work with, it's what brings opportunities to us, right? Quite often, we're not looking for opportunities anymore. They're coming to us through a whole network of folks out there.
Yes, the attraction piece, Alex, too, right? And how do you best build within the real estate community those relationships and keep the pipeline healthy?
So not only does it measure from the client relationships, but also the agent relationships. So as you mentioned, our other real estate partner that we work with, Zane and his group, is that not only is he a top agent that produces and has those client connections, but we also work agent to agent. So when Zane has an investor and Paul has a project and then I have a buyer, that all of our team comes together to really, create.
Yeah, let me speak to that, Alex. So one of the pieces we were talking about in the lobby out there is, okay, project's getting about 70% of the way through and we're already pre-marketing it. I'm structuring the capital. I'm in-house with Paul all day, and the team is supporting that effort. So agents like Alex, they're the first people who are going to pick up the phone and say, hey, look, these projects are coming down. We need to start gaining interest on them. So instead of going out and have to look for business, we already got the funnel set up to where these agents can get it going. They already have a luxury brand built around them. And it also secures the certainty of execution, the ROI timeline, to make sure that we're closing and selling on time.
And that's a good point. So Alex is really good at whether he's the listing agent or not, which mostly he's not the listing agent on our projects. He's more of the vetting it out and making sure it's going to work. But he'll put boots on the ground. He'll go out there and do his own social media and start gaining attraction for those projects long before we list it, right? So by the time whoever lists it, it already has some exposure.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a team effort here. And if you're ever looking for a rugby team or like a basketball team, we're all pretty gritty in that sense. So, okay, where are we going next, Paul? Thanks, sir. Thank you, Brian. Yeah.
Just maybe take a look at the library here a little bit.
Yeah,
so this is how our interior designer Laura, who's not here this morning, she's actually meeting with a client, but she'll meet with the client long enough. They'll give her some pictures, visions of what they want their home to look like, and then she'll take first pass at helping them. So I often tell clients they can drive to every showroom between here and San Francisco if they want, spend the next 9 weekends doing it. Or they give Laura a couple inspiration pictures and let her take first pass at laying out what she thinks their home should look like. Right? It'll have everything from the flooring to the countertop to the tile. So at that point, the homeowner just comes in and we've got their home out here. She's got all the items listed in this vision board, so to speak. And if there's something they don't like, they can simply just walk behind the table there, pull it out, mix, match, and get the look that they want.
It's fantastic. It makes it so convenient and keeps you on time, keeps everything moving forward. I think momentum, right? Keep the momentum going forward with these deals.
Another good thing is budget too, right? So since we have this set up, we're considered a certified showroom, although this is only for our clients in the homes we're building. But because we're a showroom, we get up to 40% off on a lot of these materials, which helps. There's three things when we're building a home, right? There's schedule. We want it done on time, whether it's for the homeowner or the investor. There's budget. It's got to be built in a certain amount of dollars to make sure everybody comes out whole. And then, of course, the quality. We want these homes to be good quality. We want happy customers. We want referrals. We want to keep going. So those are three things we look at. Laura's a big part of that.
And brings it back to that same point of the work we're going to use and continuously throughout all day today, value engineering. So remember that. All this is part of the value engineering process because it all leads to a stronger investment and a stronger product.
Fantastic. You guys ready to go on site with a couple local properties here to show the builds?
Yeah, I'd love to show you some of the homes we built in the area.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Come on. we're on site here at Barton Ranch, one of the best places in Granite Bay, Paul, one of the most prestigious areas in California. We're going to be going through a few developments that you've built here that had tremendous, returns and success for the clients. Anything else you want to add about this particular area and a little bit about the history of the land?
Yeah, well, actually, this property was purchased by a very good friend of mine and one of my very best clients. He bought 10 acres. There used to be just one house on this 10 acres. Unfortunately, the home burnt down, which created the opportunity for him. He bought the land with me in mind. He divided it into 10 luxury lots. We started building the homes, and everyone swooped in, buyers, other builders, and bought some of these lots as well. But it turned out to be one of the most proudest neighborhoods I've ever worked on. It's amazing.
And we're going to view 3 amazing homes that you're going to love when you're going to see that. And Zane's going to go through the numbers. And we're just going to talk about a little bit of timelines for you, the investor who's considering working with us here at Capital Gains Tax Solutions and in PWP Wealth Partners and BT Development. And so let's go. Put this up, but tell us this story as we're walking towards it.
Well, this particular house has turned into be one of the fan favorites of our clients. It's considered a modern farmhouse.
Okay.
It's the second house we started building on this court. And as it developed and opened up, we got so many clients that would come drive the street, see that house, and call us up and ask us to build one just like it for them.
Beautiful. So it was like the showroom developed house in the front, right in the beginning, to give a chance for it to just market it the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We picked up a lot of clients and a lot of new builds based off this modern farmhouse,
including my wife.
Okay, so tell us about maybe some of the specs on the deal. Do you remember the square footage or just the general layout? I know we're not going to be able to get inside because someone's living in it today, but
yeah.
But why don't we maybe walk this way and kind of get a good angle on it? Okay.
But it's got that modern farmhouse look that certain clientele have just grown to love over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
It's been one of our most popular builds. Clients love it, and we enjoy building.
Come stand right here, Paul. We'll break down some of the details with Zane and with Paul here now for the investor side of things, right? So the start date was around September of 2021, right? The finish date was about a year later, right? A little over a year later. So that's kind of right on target there.
Yeah.
I think the cost is right around $900,000 based upon the research that Zane and his team did, and then sold for about 1.8. Seems like a steal at this point, right?
Oh, absolutely. All these homes have gone up tremendously. And that's another thing I like to help people understand is when we build a home, basically at wholesale value, as soon as a homeowner moves into it, they already have built-in equity in their home. It's always a great way to, boost a person's net value, right? Just in their home. Instead of buying a home at already built at high retail, we move them in at wholesale value.
Excellent. So let me jump in on that. So the piece to think about that. So in the matter of what we're really talking about is 3.5 to 4 years. This house was 1.8 million, is probably eclipsing 3 million right now. So not only are the investments we're making when we take your funds in and then build these luxury developments, sound investments, they also have a lot of growth. A lot more growth will be experienced than what would typically happen in a lower housing market. So a lot of people ask about, the development in the 700 to 1 million space with most of the common builders you're familiar with, whether it's NAR or KB, but they're not going to host the same level of returns or equity plays that luxury developments like these ones will. You're seeing almost $1 million in the last 3-4 years in equity grow in this house in and of itself just by the development and completion, as Paul alluded to. And then from an investment perspective, we are doing many more just like this right now. So opportunities like this popping up all over the place.
In fact, that leads us to our next one. We're going to walk down here for the next project, 5980 Barton Ranch Court. And this one, so some rough details. It was 2022, it looks like March of 2022, and was when we started, and then completed February of 2023. So just under a year total completion on this one, Paul.
This actually is probably one of my most favorite homes we ever built. When you go on the inside, it's got a very high cathedral ceiling. There's green belt behind this house. When you walk in the front door, you see all the way through to the backyard, the swimming pool, the water feature back out there, and then a green belt behind it. We have built this house 2 other times for clients. It is such a nice feel when you walk into that house.
Okay.
And I just love the outside of it. It's just amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. Zane, what do you like best about this house?
So actually you can't see it from right here on the street, but a cool feature as Paul puts in is like on the back, the whole back wall opens up. So it's one of those accordion doors. So when you open up into the greenbelt, you get the fresh air into the entire house. So that's probably my favorite part of it.
So finishing out on the numbers for the investor side of things, Again, this one's 5980 Barton Ranch. So 1.6 million total cost to build, and then a $2.4 million sales price, okay? And so, again, we're in Granite Bay, and it's a really, really nice area, and the values of this house is likely, I imagine, I don't know what we have on the value, what it is now, Zane.
Right on par with the other ones. This one right here is probably pushing 275.
Okay.
Right in there. Yeah.
Excellent. And then the Bay Area, a lot of the projects, this is part of the strategy, which, so talk about, you can build these same houses, but in Napa or San Francisco, San Francisco, a little different kind of build, but different areas, Brentwood, and walk us through the opportunity there just for the bigger markets.
So yeah, absolutely. So what we're able to do there is we take about half of our crews that work here in the greater Sacramento area. They'll travel to the Bay Area with us, to the Truckee area. So our costs don't double in those areas. They just go up maybe a couple $100 a square foot, but our sales price doubles in those areas, right? Here we might sell stuff for $600 a foot. There we're selling homes for $1,200 to $1,500 a foot. Right. So that's the strategy by moving out into those areas, including Palisades. Some of our newest projects coming up are the Palisades. Same types of sales points.
Exciting. And by the way, if you might be asking, okay, $1,200 square foot, how do we know this? Talk about the CMAs, Zane, and the sales comps, and making sure that when it's complete, it'll sell for that.
Yeah, so absolutely. So we get that all the time from investors when they come in. They're like, we want to see how this works. Well, a lot of the times, as we talked about, when we structure the investment, the investor's putting down their capital injection, and then we're using a construction loan to then go ahead and build and complete the house. Well, we do all the analysis on the front end to make sure most of these houses are under 65% LTV after build, meaning loan to value ratio. So total debt on the house is about 65% or lower on the majority of these projects. So there's insulation there from the amount of equity that's produced right by the completion of the project. The second piece is we look at the houses in the area, so comparable sales analysis. We take a look at what's selling, and in most of these places we're building new houses, there's old houses that are selling for the projected value we want to sell at, and they're not even new. So take the Bay Area, for example. We're doing 4 houses in Oakland right now. There's no comps in that area. There's comps per square foot, there's comps for the size of the property, but there's no comps for new houses. So we're going to be the first 4 new houses in that area. So not only do you get a brand new house at the same price that you'd pay for one on the open market, this then actually hosts a potential for us to be able to sell it for over market value. So we have features like that built in on all the investments, but we also have taken it as far as on some of these investors wanted to see some additional information. We took some of the construction loans, had appraisals done already. So we then sent what the property would be certified from an appraiser at and sent it over to the investor. So depending upon which project it is and what's going on with it, we can get granular with the details. And I think that all these ones overall are pretty much in a great place.
Good. Paul, do you want to add anything to that about the numbers and even just your deliverability, certainty of execution over the years, never losing an investor dollar, correct?
Correct.
Right. And then how often have you ever really been off when you say, I think it's going to sell for $5.5, $6 million, we're going to build it for about 3 total all in cost with the land and the construction. How often have you been off on that, just your recollection?
Well, in the last 5 years, we've not been off more than 5-10%, okay. Right? And quite often it sells for more than we projected for at the beginning. And it took some years to get that science dialed in. Where we were off the most was, of course, from 2007 to 2009, right? We bought 5 lots right at 2006, started building the homes. By the time we sold that last home, we still captured every dollar spent, right? Whether it was the investor's dollar, the construction loan, we still got everyone paid off. But ever since then, like the rest of the world, we learned our lessons from 2009, and we're in a good spot now.
That's fantastic. It's really important to understand. The way that we structure with Capital Gains Tax Solutions and working with BWP and BT Development is that you are in a loan position to BT Development that's secured by a deed on the property itself, the land itself. And although you're in technically a second position behind the construction loan, like Zane just said a minute ago, it's very healthy margins, meaning there's so much equity that's built in. And so you are a lender, right? You are a lender. And so even if Paul were to be off on the $5.5 to $6 million exit on average for a project, that's on Paul. And by the way, Paul's also with his company guaranteeing the loan, taking on the debt, taking on that risk. So we are a lender in a second position, but again, the average total cost is about $3 million all in, $2 million of debt with BT Development, about $1 million for investor / loan capital to BT. And then on the exit, there's tons of margin. And so it would take a lot for the actual deal.
Brett, let me jump in on that. Yeah, so just to get a little bit more in detail on that, Paul just said at most he's only experienced a 5 to 10% deviation. Well, if we have 35% equity in the project as soon as it's complete, even if it was at worst case called 10 or 15%, we're still sitting on 20% yield on the project.
Which means you as the investor get your full amount of capital back plus the return per the note. Each note will be a little bit different, but there's lots of margin here. Let's go on to the next project. Hey guys?
Yeah,
absolutely. Excited about this one?
This is actually my favorite.
Okay, is this the 5960?
Correct.
Okay, this is 5960 Barton Ranch Court, everybody. In case you want to look this one up, and it was built May of 2023, and wow, you guys look like you guys did a pretty quick turnaround. It was sold in January of 24, so this one was a quick 1.7 total cost, Paul, and then a 2.8 exit. Sounds like a really great deal that this was pulled together.
Yeah, so what about the build time? How long was the build time on this one? Exactly?
This one was only about 7 or 8 months here.
So why is that important?
Total turnaround looks like.
That's important. That's important to pay attention to, because on a lot of these short-term investments that we're making on behalf of Capital Gains Tax Solution, you're talking a 10 to 12 month build time and a 12 to 16 month exit. So if Paul turned this in 7, 8 months, I mean, just take a look. This is my favorite one in here. 7 to 8 months to build this. I don't know any developer doing that.
Yeah, Paul, you want to add to that in this project, and why? How was it so efficient? Was there something about it that made it just streamlined?
It's a modern design inside. It has a lot of straight lines, open spaces. It was not a very complicated build, even though the outside looks absolutely amazing. The finishes inside are impeccable. And working with the client, they were really motivated to get into the home, so they let us run with the schedule, and they didn't make too many changes, and it worked out nice.
Yeah, so this is a fantastic project, and this kind of project, you can take kind of this design and this template, and you could go to certain areas, right? In the Bay Area, where do you think this would be a great fit?
So many areas in the Bay Area, not in the city, so to speak,
right,
but when you get out to the outlining areas, boy, I can't even name all those towns, but yeah, Danville. This would be a perfect fit for a Danville neighborhood. Even the Livermore neighborhood. That's really an upcoming area that we're looking at developing properties now.
And as a reminder, the real estate agents and the networking and the connection with Zane's network, and even when you heard from on site with Paul's agent on site, Alex, they're constantly building and these networks to have these deals come from these different areas, so that the opportunities continue.
That's a great point. So yeah, let's address that. So we actually just had one of our realtors fly in from LA, and Paul and I met with him this last week, and so it's great. He's actually, with the projects Paul talked about in the Pacific Palisades, he's actually walked a couple of them, ratified all the information, and he's now bringing us other projects that are in the same area. So these opportunities are coming up, and then we review them to make sure that they make sense and they're sound, and then they're going to continue to be available to you guys.
Excellent. Is there any other projects in this one, Paul, for this development, or is that wrap it up for these ones?
These are the three that we built specifically. We collaborated with some of the other builders on this.
I'm going to give 2 other addresses, although we're not going to be on site today for those, but for those that are listening, they can kind of look it up. 3820 Sierra College Boulevard in Loomis, and 3516 Vista Day, Madera, and Lincoln. In fact, that's where we're hosting our live event.
Absolutely.
So there will be more coverage for that property, but let's just touch on 3820 Sierra College Boulevard. Looks like that one was built around November of 2023.
So that one's actually still under construction, and I believe we're going to go there next and stop and take some video.
Oh, perfect. We'll be there next. Okay, great. Hey, we're here in Loomis now at a new site. Hey, Paul, one of the biggest questions people have has to do with a spec home versus a client custom home and the timeline differences. Talk about the differences, because the investor might be wondering about that. And like, they're like, well, I think these projects usually take longer, but they're probably thinking from the perspective of them building their own house, maybe.
Yeah, good point. So when we're building a home for a client like this one here, those homes do tend to go well over a year, quite frankly, because the homeowner's involved every step of the way. We allow them to make changes, move things around, change walls, all the way through the process. Of course, it's their home, right? And everything costs either time or money. And as long as they understand that, we'll take as long as they want to build a home. All the projects we work with investors are what we call spec homes, right? Speculation. We're going to build that beautiful home, put it up for sale. Those are what go very smoothly. right? We build a 9-month schedule for every one of those homes. And for the most part, we can hit that 9 months. Maybe it goes a month later, maybe a month sooner. But when there's no homeowner involved in the equation, we're allowed to make our own decisions and keep on moving. So that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, that's huge. And I think if you're the investor, you want certainty of execution and certainty of timeline, and realize that that's the difference between a spec home and then a custom client home, and how we can speed and streamline the spec home. On top of that, Paul, you also know, as you do more and more homes, you learn what most are going to want anyways, right? And you adapt and the styles and the design and all of those things.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
Well, very important. That's why we have a full-time in-house interior designer. It's her job to keep up with the latest trends, everything that homeowners like in their homes, currently, as well as my project managers. They got a really good feel because they're working closely with the clients, closely with the public. And so when we build a spec home, it's to the latest, most modern amenities that are going into homes.
Excellent. Okay, Paul, let's talk a little bit about the value of an ADU and walk through what it looks like, and maybe we can walk towards the property here as we're going here. Huh? Yeah.
So this homeowner came to us and they wanted a house along with an ADU that matched the home. So they're going to look very much the same. The ADU is actually complete. We finished that in a very short period of time, about 7 months.
Okay.
The client homeowner actually lives in the ADU while they're waiting for us to finish up their home. But you can see by the look of it, they virtually look identical. ADUs are very important these days. People want a place to bring their parents, their in-laws, even the college kids come home for the summer. They want to have their own spot.
Right.
Another big selling point for homes now that have ADUs is, of course, Airbnb, right? They can Airbnb that ADU out, almost pay for their mortgage on the property.
Unbelievable, right? This lot is what size is the total size of the lot?
It's a 4-acre lot total.
Okay, 4-acre lot, and you got. I mean, this is a full. I mean, you hear ADU, but it's a full house.
Right.
I mean, is there any for California? Is there like a certain square footage limit or something?
Yeah, for an ADU, it's got to be between 750 feet and 1,200 feet to be an ADU. If it was any bigger than 1,200 feet, it would not be an ADU.
So, I mean, this is definitely bigger than that.
Well, actually, it's not. It's deceiving. So the ADU itself is 1,200 feet. They just happen to add on a 2 big RV parking garage attached to their ADU.
Oh, okay.
So there's some areas there you can combine the two and come up with just an amazing structure.
Amazing structure. So that's key. That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. Great. That's a great share there. You can Airbnb it out. The college kids home. They can obviously live in it until the new house is completed.
Yep.
The guests that come and hang out. Those are all great things.
Absolutely. The Airbnb is so big in this area. I mean, it really drives the value of a home.
Yeah. Fantastic. Great.
This is the same plan at Barton Ranch. Remember the second house?
Yeah.
That I was saying is my favorite house?
Yeah. This is where the whole thing.
This is that house.
It's the same house.
Yeah.
You just redid it.
Yep.
Yeah. And so under construction now, we're about what, 80% complete?
80% complete. We hope to be done in about another 45 days with this house.
Yeah. And do you feel like you're on target and on budget with this one as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll be right there.
It's beautiful. And so, I mean, this backdrop here, I mean, I don't know if you get any better than those rocks and those rolling hills and those beautiful trees. And is that a creek that kind of runs back over there?
They've got a built-in swimming pool, an integrated hot tub that will flow down into the pool.
Yes.
A waterfall on the back of the pool that will go in. So when you walk in the front door, you look straight through this grand slider right at the waterfall and right to that beautiful backdrop.
Amazing.
Absolutely
and then how
amazing.
many bedrooms and baths and all that? And
yeah, it's a 5-bedroom, 4.5-bath home, 4,400 square feet in total.
And I don't know if we can walk and see any of this over here. It's cool.
This is the master suite over here. We got the master bedroom to the left, the master bathroom to the right.
Wow.
They've got their own sliding glass door looking out into the beautiful backyard.
Amazing.
Yeah. Incredible. Beautiful.
How many acres is this, Paul?
I believe it's a 4 to 5 acre parcel altogether.
It's beautiful. It's perfect.
Yeah. Beautiful project. And again, some of the stats on this one.
That's a good thing to make mention of. So just want to bring it to your guys' attention. So this is the same floor plan as Paul just said, is the second one that we looked at Barton Ranch. And so now you get to see it. That was inside of a small subdivision. And now you get to see what this floor plan looks like in a 4 to 5 acre ranch style home. So you can see that these things can be plug and play, and we can move them around and shift them to the investor's desire and ultimately the end state client.
And every time we build a luxury home like this, when we build it over and over, the schedule gets tighter and the budget gets tighter.
Amazing.
We get really efficient the more we build these plans.
Absolutely, and scale. So 1.4 million is the average cost, and we think about what 2.3, 2.4 million is the value at the end of that. And again, in about 12 months, you'll have that fully completed here. There's the 80 unit, which we already showed over there. Incredible project, amazing work. Anything else to add about this project or any thoughts?
It's one of many we have in the area, but these homeowners, by the time they move in, they'll move in with $1 million equity from day one.
So let me just address that real quick, because what does that mean? Like, there's 3 main ways you get equity. Number one, somebody has a mortgage on a house, they pay it down over time, and that loan to value gap just increases. Number two, there's rapid fluctuation in the area. So like a lot of people are moving in to something's highly desirable, and it causes the demand to go up on that property. Number three, when we take it from dirt to delivery and we build immediate equity. But when there's a demand, when multiple things like that compound in the same direction, like there's a strong demand for luxury farmhouses or luxury ranch homes, and then we also have the development happening simultaneously, you get a client walking in with $1 million in equity. Where does that happen at?
I like to say we're the ultimate house flippers, right? I mean, what's the popular thing to do? Buy a house that's in need of some attention, some repair, fix it up and sell it. What do? We buy raw dirt, nothing but dirt. We build a beautiful structure on it and we sell it. We just fast forwarded the whole, whatever you want to call it, appreciation process, right? I mean, to me, there's no better way.
Yep. Amazing. We love that, Paul.
Yep, if you want to learn more, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com and then PWP. Which website?
ParallelWealthPartners.com, all the same. You can find us, Zane at Parallel Wealth Partners. Also, Bianchi-Tillett, we're integrated. So,
yeah. Perfect. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We have a podcast, by the way. It's called Build It to Billions, okay? And so I want to welcome you to the first live Build It to Billions event. At Build It to Billions, we believe that we have an opportunity to steward wealth in a way and capital in a way that's going to make an impact for generations. And so tonight's talk is just about that. How can you steward capital and wealth for the next 150 years? So the big question that I have for each of you to think about tonight is, what are you building for? What are you building for? My goal for you from the other night is that you'd want to build it to billion so you can give more or all of it away to help MVPs. Who are the MVPs? They're the most vulnerable people among us, okay? And again, part of our impact tonight will be with Agape International and some of the most vulnerable people that can need and can receive some of our help tonight as we support. But I want you to think about your legacy and your family for the next 150 years. And so, a lot of in American culture, we start and we grow a business, and most of the mindsets is focused on exiting, right? In fact, my company is called Capital Gains Tax Solutions. We help people build capital gains tax exit plans all around this capital gains tax challenge that they face. But that's just step one, and or maybe it's just a little bit more of a limited thing that you want to think about. We want you to think about that. But the other idea is a lot of people build to split, meaning, hey, how do I build and make the next generation a little bit easier? How many of you grew up in an entrepreneurial family? Raise your hand. How many of you did not grow up in an entrepreneurial family? Just the opposite, okay? And so part of the American dream is becoming an entrepreneur, owning real estate, achieving what's called passive income. How many of you read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Okay? It's an amazing book. If you haven't read it, you should read the book. You know, there's 4 quadrants, and that bottom right quadrant is known as you finally trade your money for time, and the other 2 quadrants is you're building enough wealth through business or real estate acquisition, but most of the time we don't achieve what's called truly passive income. And my thing that I've been learning and thinking about is an idea of truly passive income and what it can do for impact, okay? So most of us think about, hey, how do I earn enough and build enough so that I can maybe retire one day, or I can maybe support my family one day, or maybe even split it for my kids to make it easier. But I want to challenge you tonight, and also myself tonight. This is part of why we share these things out loud, so it helps us to be accountable to what we're doing. And it's really to build, not just to sell, not just to split, but build to sustain, okay? So what if we built something that could last 150 years or more? And the big problem is that most families don't plan with the long view in mind. In fact, a lot of us don't even plan very well, to be honest, for our intentional goals each year, right? In fact, writing down goals, reviewing goals, and pursuing those goals can get lost in the, you know, just the speed of life, okay? And so instead of preparing just for retirement or for estate taxes, or maybe even for our children, I want to encourage you to think about multi-generational impact. And this is not a new idea. In fact, it's a biblical idea. If you read the Bible, it talks about preparing for and planning for multiple generations. And this generational impact and having a longer view is really what we believe is the foundation of stewardship mindset over ownership, okay? And stewardship mindset believes that everything's been given to us as a gift from God, and that gift has been given us to be a blessing and help to others. It's a gift to bless our families. It's a gift to, yes, be able to retire, but it's a gift to make an impact for the most vulnerable people. And so if you actually look at the build and sustain method, and in fact, if you go into Europe and Asia and you study, many families have built businesses and legacies that have lasted centuries. In the US, we rarely think that way, and that is the challenge for each of us to think about tonight. But what if we did, right? What if we, building to sustain requires more than just smart investing, it requires purpose. My wife and I have gone on a journey recently in the last really year and a half to build our family with mission, vision, values in line. In fact, we took a workshop with a gentleman named Bill High. Now, Bill High is an attorney for a gentleman named David Green. And now David Green built Hobby Lobby from $600 in his garage to a multi-billion-dollar company across the world. And it's an amazing story. He's actually given more away than maybe almost any human being ever alive. And he's giving away hundreds of millions to billions of dollars to the most vulnerable in this world. And it's a beautiful story. And so I flew back with Bill, and I met with David Green, and we studied what David did and what Bill helped him to set up. And what was interesting is Bill and David, their belief and their way that they approach this is to give it away during their lifetime to their children for the purpose of stewardship and training. And so we're going to talk about a little bit of those ideas here, but I want you to be thinking about that. What is your purpose? Do you have family, mission, vision, values? Have you taken time to intentionally plan, not just for taxes, not just for wealth creation, not just for truly passive income, but for legacy planning, okay? So there's really 3 pillars to a lasting legacy. So how do you do this, right? Well, the first one is relational health. So important to understand that no matter what amount of wealth you build or try to build, if you don't have solid relational health within the family, it's almost destined to fail. And so we have to focus on the ability to build relational health. Growing up, my parents were divorced at a young age. We actually had a ton of wealth in the Bay Area, building these houses. And it was really exciting, I guess you could say, until it wasn't. And wealth became more of an obstacle between the family rather than a blessing. And so relational health is foundational to this. And so if there's any way you can build better relational health with your family, that is the number one foundational thing to all of this. Number 2 is structure and governance. How many of you read the book Think and Grow Rich? Okay, cool. There's a chapter in there that talks about just the founding of America and how it was built. When I've studied this, it's really studying how to build this within the family. A lot of our businesses and our companies, we have mission, vision, values for that, but we don't have it for our families. And that's really the challenge, right? How do we intend to pass down the stewardship of wealth if we don't even have it for our families? And so the encouragement is to build not just mission, vision, values for your family, but a structural governance. And so this This means putting in place systems that allow the family and business to thrive beyond one's lifetime, right? It's about writing down not only your mission, vision, and values, but also treating them as a family constitution. So think about that. What's like your Bill of Rights for your family? What are the core values that you believe in, right? What are the causes that you believe in, right? For our family, it's we have 5 core values, and it starts with the Bible. That's our number 1 core value. The foundational, that's our guidebook. That's our foundation of truth. That's our belief, is the Bible. Number 2 is family, right? Focusing on blessing our family, serving our family, and helping our family achieve what God's called them to do. The next one is stewardship, right? Stewarding everything that He's given us for the blessing of our family, our friends, our community, right? The next one is a Bible family stewardship grit. Now, grit is basically what you might think about, working hard and pressing through, but we really define grit as obeying God even when it hurts, even when it doesn't make sense, even when the culture and the community or everything can stand against you. It's standing for what you believe in, and it's having grit to obey God even when it doesn't make sense all the time, right? We believe standing and being in submission to the Bible and obeying God's word is the definition of grit. And it's not easy in today's world, but that's our definition of grit. And so the last one is Bible family stewardship, grit, and then impact. We believe that impact, if you do those first 4, will lead to that 5th one automatically, right? And so it's the idea of mine of being a blessing and making an impact. So each of these words mean different things for our family. My encouragement for you is to write those things down for you and sit down with your kids. And no matter what age, it doesn't matter, start it today and find out what are your core values that if you had 150 years from now, or even on your 90th birthday, right, and you're sitting down on a beach and you're with your spouse or significant other and you're seeing all your grandkids running around on the beach, right, and you could say, we lived a perfect life. Wow, these last 30, 40, 50, 60 years, it went absolutely perfect. Question is, what would have to happen between now and then? So it's about visualizing where you're going to be and what kind of impact can you make, okay? But it starts with this structure, this governance, right? These family core mission, vision, and values. The next part of this, which is building the 3 pillars of a lasting legacy, have to do with training. How can we expect our kids or those in our family to know how to do this unless they're trained? Now, back to David Green, what he found the best way to do that is to give the company away now to some of his kids and grandkids, and with them together, they would govern. So it gives them an opportunity to invest, to make great, big decisions, and to be a part of the family in a way that's in real time. Mentorship, a lot of it is osmosis, right? We can go to school, we can go to college, we can get training, we can watch a PowerPoint or a YouTube channel. But at the end of the day, if you're not in it with some of the best in the business, it's really hard to learn about how to be the best in the business, okay? And so if you're going to steward the capital and the wealth of your family, especially your business, how do you bring the children alongside of you? There's a stat out there about 20%, you have a 1 in 5 chance of one of your children wanting to follow in mom and dad's footsteps, okay? And so I have 5 children, so it looks like one of them will likely want to follow in my footsteps, right? If I get 2, I'm really lucky, right? We'll see what happens here, right? For those who don't know, my daughter Emily is right here. Emily, raise your hand. And I have our daughter Ava somewhere around here. Ava and Evelyn right here. Okay, these are 3 of our children. My wife Melanie, I want to say thank you to my wife Melanie back there. Without my wife Melanie, this wouldn't be possible for the support. The spouse of the entrepreneur, I want to let you know that you're just as vital to the success and impact of your family, even if it isn't seen all the time, right? And so that is crucial for the team aspect, but pouring into your kids. So I'm going to give you a few practical ways you can do this and tools so you can start implementing this today, okay? So number 1, if you could establish the family mission, vision, values, you start with a weekly foundational, we call it a family board meeting, okay? Just like you might have your family kickoff or your team kickoff meeting once a week, right? You do that with your family. You review your family mission, vision, values. You review the vision for your family, right? You review the challenges your families are having. You're sharing prayer requests. You're praying for one another. You're doing something where you're being intentional about where you're going as the family. You're setting the goals together. And you're doing this to help each other achieve what each of you are sharing, right? And it's an open forum. It takes maybe 30 minutes to take an hour. It can be on a drive to somewhere you're going. It could be more formal. It could be over dinner. About once a week you're doing this, okay? And this is something my wife and I have implemented. Sometimes it's once a week. Sometimes we don't get all of them, right? But we have a goal for once a week. Sometimes it's once a month. But the goal is to spend the time to intentionally review these things with your family. The next practical way would be the Family Employment Committee. Okay, so instead of dad or mom deciding who joins the business, create a fair system with outside mentors. So this is combining outside best in class in what they do with the family. And this committee is also there to encourage and empower and also train the next generation to take over the stewardship of the business. This protects relationships while giving kids accountability and guidance. So when you combine outside best in class with the family, and then you help to encourage each individual child's growth, you can help to have a more practical way to pass this. The next thing is the Culture and Education Committee. You want to celebrate family traditions. You know, before a lot of technology and everything, things were passed mostly through story, right? Story moves, but what gets lost in today's world with so much information is the story of the family and the legacy, right? So recently, just actually last week, my wife and I and our children, we flew to Maui and we spent time with my grandma, who's 97, and my mom, who's 75. And it was a legacy opportunity. It was a vacation with them. We call these 2-for-1s, right? Where you can spend time with your family, but also spend time with your extended family. But more than that, we captured their story. We captured their faith story. And in fact, a lot of these questions I hadn't even asked before of my mom and my grandma. I spent about an hour each interviewing them about their family, their origin story, their childhood, their challenges. My grandma lost a child at 10 years old to a brain tumor, right? She lost her husband and she had to work 14, 16-hour days. She found Jesus and her life has not been easy, but she has a deep belief in her faith. I capture that story on video so that we can start to pass the family story to the next generation. Because our youngest is 7 and grandma's 97. The odds of him remembering these things are very low. The odds of my daughters remember are much higher, but we capture that. And so how can you capture your family story? Maybe it's writing a book. Maybe it's writing blogs. It might be different for you, but capture that before they're gone. That's so important. And as well, you have the opportunity, we all have an opportunity to grow our kids through this educational committee by supporting them for their educational goals as well. So that's the Culture and Education Committee. The next one is the Giving Committee, right? So this is families who give together are more united. So the idea here is David Green, he has each child or some of the grandkids in this committee, it's about 7 to 10 per committee, and they each bring something that breaks their heart or something that they're really poured into, right? That they really want to pour into. And what's neat about it is they need to present that to the family, and they also need to be the champion of that cause. And you can imagine they're a multi-billionaire family. They get approached with a lot of people asking and looking for help. And so they say, look, we're going to make a committee, and we're going to bring the best in class of who's giving really well and something that breaks someone's heart, and let's present it, and then let's vote on this. So that's another way that you can do this through giving, a giving committee, okay? The next one is the investment committee, all right? And this is where most of us maybe spend a lot of our time and our energy. Again, it's the taxes, it's the investments. This is important, right? This maintains the compounding effect of the wealth, the stewardship of it. And so you want to invite the next generation to investment decisions, whether it's operating the business, whether it's startup or venture projects. This allows them to develop ownership and skills in a safe, guided way. Again, mostly through osmosis, right? I know how I learned how to underwrite multifamily properties at Marcus & Millichap here in Sacramento by going through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties, by touring all of these properties, right? By looking at the comps, by underwriting the properties. I have an HB 12C, for those who know what it means. That's great. That's my calculator of choice that I carry everywhere with me. So it's osmosis and continual reps. We need to have our children doing those reps if they want to be a part of the business, if we can, through training, okay? And the very last one, and then we'll wrap it up, is the spiritual and the legacy of faith, okay? To me, it's the most important one because it's eternal, right? Eternal is the most important part of all of this, and true wealth includes this spiritual capital, the relational capital, intellectual capital, social capital, and the ability to pass on the faith and the stewardship of, for me, it's the gospel, right? It's the trust in Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior, and the opportunity to pass that on is the most important thing for our family, and I encourage it, if you're a believer, it'd be for yours as well, but we've got to be very intentional about that, right? And so our role is to steward that faith story of the previous generations and to pass it on to the next generations. And so with this, I want to kind of wrap it up with I want to encourage you to again, what if you started building not just for today, not just for retirement, but for the next 150 years? What systems would you put in place? What stories would you tell? What values would you reinforce? The key is intentionality. Legacy doesn't happen by accident. It requires vision, governance, and training so that your family, your wealth, and your impact can sustain not just for one generation, but for many. I have a really amazing client named Warren and Catherine, and they lived in about 4 hours away from Sacramento. They had an apartment complex. Okay, they had 2 young daughters, okay, and they had a little bit older in life. And what they found is they were trading a lot of their time at the property and building wealth, which is a multi-million-dollar property, from not spending as much time with their children. And in fact, how many of you know that 85% of our time with our kids, will spend them before they're 18, right? And so they found this tension. And so I remember sitting down with them and saying, what matters most to you? And they said, I just want to spend time with our kids, right? I'm kind of tired of the toilets, the trash, the termites, the rent control, the fires that were threatening to take down the property. And what we kind of nailed it on is like, they didn't want to trade what was priceless for what was profitable, okay? And that's really what I want to encourage you. Don't trade what's priceless for what's profitable. Is there a way to exit in such a way that you can multiply your freedom and impact? And so we actually built a capital gains tax exit plan. We helped them sell their property at a good price, get out of debt, but really decrease the time that Warren was driving 4 hours back and forth over the weekends to the property. And that freed up so much time and energy to focus on his family, right? And that's the encouragement. What's holding you back from building these plans? I don't know, right? But if there's a way for you to exit, get intentional, and make an impact, I want to encourage you, just like Warren and Catherine, to do the same. If you want to learn more about their story, you can actually go to our podcast, YouTube channel, Capital Gains Tax Solutions, where they share that. Now, again, I want to thank each of you for being here tonight. I'm going to bring up now Mr. Zane Jacobs to share his story. So come on up.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, just want to say again, we appreciate you being here. A lot of hard work went into putting this together. Shout out to Corinne. Everyone say hi to Corinne. All right, so really love what Brett was talking about. People ask me all the time when it comes to finance, like how to build wealth. So what we do is we're a capital asset group. We structure finance in the guise of the real estate space. So everything from capital stacks to the project evaluation, construction financing, we look at all that and determine what's the best approach for investors to get involved. Now, one thing I like that you said the most was the why. The number one thing we do when we do investment intakes with clients is look at what they want to do. So everyone's like, yeah, I want to make more money. I want to get this car. I want to get this house. Wow, this house is amazing. It's beautiful. Look at the lights. But if you had all that, what would it look like? And then we look at the timeline for doing that. Is that good? If you had this stuff, what would it mean? So in an investment intake, typically what I look at doing is looking at setting a horizon for a client. So we'll sit down, look at everything going on with their family, their specific needs, and then we'll build out like what success looks like. And from there, we'll back plan and start doing, creating ways to create multiple streams of residual income. And so we have 2 primary ways of doing that. We do it through front-end investing and through back-end investing. And a lot of that is done in new development. So Paul's going to talk a little bit more about that as he comes up here in a little bit. But what I want to encourage you to do, as Brett was alluding to a second ago, is really figure out why you want to invest in what you want to build towards. And then we have the vehicles, the systems in place. We do bonus depreciation for people looking to depreciate in real estate assets to pass off against W-2 income. So that way they can mitigate their tax. We do stuff with partnerships with the DSTs where when people exit projects or companies, they can put that money into working there and divert taxes and then build residual streams of wealth there. Everything in the real estate space we do, and we do it well. So, Paul, you want to come up here and talk about the construction side? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So Paul Bianchi, 3rd generation contractor. I do the easy part, right? I build the widget, which in this case is a house. And these gentlemen bring investors that help us do that. And we're able to have a very successful business relationship doing that. I don't know if everybody heard, but Diane Keaton passed away over the weekend. If you read the story, she was worth $100 million. She said Well, Lisa, as the story went, that was a side gig. She did it in flipping high-end luxury real estate, if anybody read that story. I like to think that we're just the ultimate house flippers, right? We buy dirt, just raw land. We build a beautiful structure on an amazing home, and we sell it. You know, we like to say we can do that in 12 months, 2 years maximum. That's the fastest way I know how to generate wealth in real estate, is building beautiful homes on luxury properties. Thanks to Brett and his amazing team, we're starting to have plenty of capital to do that. I know we're raising a lot of money for a lot of good people and a lot of good organizations, which I think Brett's going to share with us next.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's a perfect segue here. I think it's so important to have what's called a tax flow and a cash flow mindset, so that you can not only get truly passive income. We believe truly passive income is to your freedom and impact. It's compounding interest is to your money. I'm going to explain that here. I want each of you to think about a number. If you had 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month passive, where it was durable, it was consistent, and you didn't have to think about it. You didn't have to trade any of your time for it. In fact, you may have heard of a song by Kenny Chesney, no shoes, no shirt, no problem. You're sitting on the beach and you're playing your guitar, okay, and you got your hat on, your glasses, and maybe your drink of choice, okay, and you're enjoying life. Because you know that 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 is coming in passively every single month, and you're not trading any of your time, your dollars, your risk, your personal guarantees. All of these things that are associated with owning businesses and real estate are highly appreciated, potentially even places like Bitcoin if you want more passivity and not so much of the highs and lows of the marketplace. And so what we specialize on is doing that. But I want you to think so much bigger right now for this, okay? In fact, back to Warren and Catherine, we were at a conference for DLP Capital in North Carolina just about 2 months ago. And I'm walking with Warren on this beautiful golf course in an amazing area, and he's saying, Brett, we're good. We don't need to invest anymore. We're fine. We've got our truly passive income number. And I challenged Warren. I said, Warren, that's great. But what if, and this is exactly with BT Development and how we've had a chance for them to move into BT Development. I said, well, what if we could go from making an average of 10 to 15% to maybe 20 to 30%? And not because of what it's going to give for you guys, because they felt fine. I said, but for the impact it can make right now for the most vulnerable people. Number two, your daughters are 10 years old. They're going to be 18 in 8 years. If you can give with them right now for the most vulnerable people and show them how to do that, and this is why you're building the wealth. You've achieved the American dream. You're in the top 1% of wealth. You have your truly passive income number. Now, how can we give more, make an impact right now? Let me show you. Don't take your foot off the gas. Don't put your money in a barn and let it just sit there. Go compound the wealth so we can make an impact right now, okay? So that's the bigger calling. That is stewardship. It's not just protecting and holding. It's expanding and compounding, okay? It's the power of and. Compound and give, and compound and make an impact. And with that being said, I'm going to bring up our one of the groups that are most dear to my heart. My wife and I have been supporting Agape International for I think over a decade, and they are a group who is on the front lines, and we're going to share the story of what they're doing right now. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Brandon, and he used to say his last name, Brandon. Okay, Brandon. So, Brandon, first of all, where did you grow up? Where are you originally from? And then we'll get into the story of your focus.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Southern California, and then by way of long story, ended up working for Agape International Missions, living 8.5 years with my family. I'm married, I have 3 kids. We lived 8.5 years in Cambodia, working, combating sex trafficking.
Okay, so grew up in San Diego. Let's see if my mic's still going. Maybe it's off here. You move over here. We'll just keep talking loud, yeah. And then also maybe coming back now. We're back in business. Okay, so San Diego, yeah. and so take me to the journey of meeting Agape, and then the commitment to move to Cambodia. Walk us through the beginning of this.
Yeah, strangely, this is even more roundabout because my wife, who's awesome, we were living in Ethiopia at the time and working for an organization out there. And if there's one place less stable than Cambodia, it's Ethiopia. And so things were kind of destabilizing in Ethiopia at the time. And my brother, who helped worked for this organization in the early days, his name is Clayton. he was calling me in Ethiopia and my wife saying, hey, you know, it's a really cool story. Go from Ethiopia to Cambodia. And my wife, no, not doing that. And God really put it on our hearts. And so what do you know? We ended up going from Ethiopia to Cambodia.
What is the number one, insight that you want to share when it comes to fighting for the most vulnerable? What is it about Agape that they do that you can help everyone understand the effectiveness of what you guys are fighting and how you're doing it?
Well, you've touched on this already, and I need to say this first. We are a Christian organization, and I've worked with, in my 8.5 years overseas, non-government, other NGOs, government organizations that fight sex trafficking. But when a girl, a young lady, has been in this for, sometimes years, counseling is good, doctors are good, education is good, job training is good, but there is a deeper wound that only God can heal, and it has to do with identity and formation. So that's what undergirds us at AIM. Secondly, you need to be able to do the real work. You have to be able to rescue the girl. So as an organization, we have an MOU. Right now, we work in Cambodia and we work in Belize. So we can actually rescue. We have SWAT team, investigators, lawyers on the rescue team. So we investigate our own cases. We go in, we break down the door, we rescue the girls, we arrest and make sure the bad guys go away.
Let me pause on that, right? So picture a full SWAT team and all of the military focus and breaking down doors that they've done extensive investigating and rescuing 10, 20, 30 girls all at a time, and talk about where they go after the rescue in Cambodia to start.
Yeah, 100%. I like to use the picture of, standing next to a river, right? You're stood next to this beautiful, fast-flowing river, and you hear someone floating down and they're screaming, help, help, I'm drowning. And so, of course, if you have the ability, what are you going to do? You're going to go in there, pull them out, bring them to shore. But the second you get them to shore, you see another person coming down the river. And so you swim out there. So rescuing is part one, but you need someone at the shoreline who's capable to bring these people back to life. They're dead and dying. They've been in this river. And so after a girl is rescued, she goes immediately to one of our aftercare homes where we have doctors, we have counselors, we have house moms, we have people, on average, they'll be there for 1.5 years. She's welcomed, and the first thing she'll do is she'll go through a princess ceremony. A crown will be placed on her head. She'll get a certificate. She'll get her own clothes for the first time. She'll have her own bed, and she'll be told, that she'll begin to learn value in her identity as a daughter of God. So rescue is good, but it has to go part and parcel with healing and beginning that journey.
So over your years, 7 years, first of all, let's give a round of applause for. So 7 straight years, right? You're in the fight, fighting the good fight, right on the front lines. And, what helped you to stay encouraged and positive and charged up, which can be a very, tough, situation?
Well, one, I married the right person. I'll tell you that much. You talked about having a spouse alongside of you of common purpose and common vision and sharing common heart in this, because it's not easy. It's a up and down, and you have to celebrate the ups and forget about the downs sometimes. But the downs, as you might imagine, are maybe a bit lower. I've spent nights crying in the fetal position, over those 7 years, because they're real people in their real lives. And, but yeah, I'm a simple guy. And I believe that God wants to help these girls. And if I have the ability to step in and be any part of that, then I want to do it.
Talk about the quality of Agape's leadership and even the rating for giving, right? This is a big thing for, stewardship of the capital for who we give to is really, really important, right? You want to make sure that the mission, vision, value is aligned with your family, right? And Agape is a Christian organization, and they are sharing the gospel, right? And if that aligns with you, great. If it doesn't, you may not want to give, right? You may still want to give, great, but you need to be really clear about those things. Number two, just how efficient they are with the dollar. For every dollar that goes through, there's a ranking of these organizations, nonprofits, right? Where they basically figure out how much is actually going to the good work versus the administration, right? So talk about the quality of Agape.
Talk about that.
Okay, no problem. So, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I can tell you from all of our research and our study of this for Agape over the last decade, they're in the top, like 1% of all organizations that give. Okay, meaning the vast majority of the capital is going towards the most vulnerable, the people on the front lines. And so they have built an entire school in Cambodia, right, with education. I think it's also made a hospital too. Tell us a little about the school.
Yeah, I'll go back to my example of being on the river, right? You rescue, you take them out of the river, you heal, you need someone there. But the next question you're going to ask yourself, right, is who the heck is throwing people in the river? Up there somewhere. We need to go do something about that. So we transform. We send people up the river and say, how do we stop these people ending up in the river? And that's the transformation pillar of our holistic work. So we started a church. We started a school to reach out, and it buses kids in that are living in brick factories whose parents are in indentured servitude. We have a medical clinic. We have kids clubs. We started a kickboxing gym to reach out to young men who would become pimps and traffickers. We have the Cambodian national champion right now who's going to compete in the next Olympics, who is just a boy on the street. And so it's not only teaching them those things, but these are young men then that are, learning how to be a man, how to be a husband, how to be a father. And most of all, we're changing the moral compass, the inclination of the individual, of a community, and ultimately the nation, because it's them that's going to say, how dare you in my country? How dare you with my daughter? How dare you? It's not me. It's them on fire in their own country that's going to change that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so they have the school, right? And they bring them in, and they also have they chance for them to work and learn work skills, right? And produce income. And this helps to change the entire community. Talk about just the city of Cambodia and the place that you're at. I think it's Swipelock, right? Mm-hmm. And what Agape did over the years, and then also maybe touch on Belize and the new outreach. Yeah.
So as an organization, we're celebrating our 20th year this year. We started. Thank you. We started in a tiny village that no one would have known about in Cambodia called Soi Pak. And the only reason that anyone heard about it is that Dateline NBC did a segment on it and talked about the youngest children in the world being for sale for sex. And I mean, literally children in cages. We had a documentary made about it called The Pink Room. There was a pink room upstairs in a brothel for virgin sales and making movies and just horrendous things. Soi Pak. We started with the church, and we moved the pastor in underneath this brothel. We had to put steel gates on there because people tried to pull him and his family out at night because, he was bad for business. Then we started a medical clinic there, and school, and the SWAT team, and now Soi Pak is unrecognizable from what it was, completely transformed. And now we're looking at new communities in Cambodia, and we're working all over Cambodia. And now we've expanded into Belize. And 2 months ago, we just opened the first underage aftercare facility in the nation of Belize. And also 2 months ago, we had our first intake of girls. 6 young ladies came. 1 young lady has already given her life to the Lord. And we're working on getting an MOU with the government to get SWAT team up and running.
Amazing, Brandon. And so what's one thing that I haven't asked you yet that you want to make sure you share with everybody and talk about ways that they can support Agape, and then we'll bring Robbie up to talk about the opportunity for the match tonight.
Yeah. And I don't say this lightly. If you're a person that prays, pray. Pray right now for the girls that aren't rescued, that are waiting on the other side of that. Pray for the girls that are rescued. Pray for the house moms that work with them for 1.5 years while they go through that process. You people know a lot of people. I know a lot of people. but tell people. I've lived in Cambodia. I've lived on the other side of the generosity, and I can say the money goes exactly where you would hope it would go. To rescuing these girls, to healing them, and transforming communities and transforming their lives. And so, give, like you said, leave a legacy measured in rescue, in healing, and in transformation.
A special opportunity tonight, and I want to pass it to Robbie to talk about it.
Yeah, perfect. Hey, you guys are awesome, by the way, because I'm happy to be human also, and except for this front row sitting down so joyfully and comfortably. Everybody else is like, in the backyard, we're almost done, right? And we're going to stand longer, but we're going to talk. It'll be more flow. I don't want to talk anymore because you just did it, but just to be clear, I met your brother in the early days. Everything you just said, you just took me back. Talk to one of us about the Pink Room documentary. It'll change your life. As humans, we don't want to hear about sex trafficking because sex trafficking is horrible. And it's easier to be like, nope, watch a movie, Black Mirror, don't think about it, la, 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 la. And I get it, I get it. But the truth is, then if that is how we're going to be, which is very normal, then can we support organizations like this? I'm a benefit auctioneer specialist. So what that means is I raise money for nonprofits. I got 100 here now, I got 200 there. I'm sold to the lady in the second row. She's an 8, she's a 9, she's a 10, I don't know. Like, that's what I do for a living for nonprofits. And so I've been around them. When they say it all goes where it needs to go, like, I don't even get to know some information for all of the clients I work for. And I have to feel it, use my mind, use my wisdom, and then feel it like, are these good people? I hope they are. I hope when I go in there, we raise millions, hundreds, thousands of dollars, that they're putting it to what I happen to know this organization does. Matter of fact, the founder was a dear friend of mine, just passed literally a year ago, with a couple of days and some change. And that's only fueled what they're doing to where I don't even want to share it, but they're going to talk about growing more. Can I say that? At least into other parts. What they do is like a well-oiled machine. They're rescuing young girls. I've been on 2 undercover missions personally in Cambodia. Think Thailand. Think, when you're going in there, we think these girls that are 18, 19, no, some of them are very young because they're sick and twisted people, and they're on the forefront. So here's the deal. We got a $30,000 match tonight. And it's pretty simple. I can't do much more to get you. We'll either get it or we won't, you know what I mean? And so the only way I can think to do this, because this isn't the normal setting where I'm in a tuxedo and we got bidding cards and all that, is I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm going to start with a crazy number that would just do it right away, and we'll move down. And my hope is that in this short time, with where you're at in your actual life and your finances and your ability to give and what you have to give and what you want to, I know everybody's different, this is a wild time to give, but we got a $30,000 match. So if you could think, is there a number you can give tonight? So to make this easy, so we could just get the kicking music back on. Do we know what we raised so far just from the big 500?
Yeah, 500 so far.
So 500. So we do the math on that, right? We need a little more, obviously. What am I going to say? It is what it is. So 500, we'll just do what I was going to do. I'm just going to be funny here, but kind of serious. We just put the music back on. Anybody just let's just wrap it up and get that match. I got 30K. I'll drop on you right now. And we can just be done. And everybody else is guilt-free, doesn't have to give $1. Anybody want to step up in big for all of us and knock that out now? Anybody? 30,000? No. Oh.
I would like to.
That's what anyway, so yes.
Totally would
I saw an opportunity for a joke there. What are you saying?
But for the $30,000 match, does the person or who's donating have to be here? Can I promote this out to a couple of different group chats and have
the answer to that just in.
Please.
Of course you can.
Yeah, just in. But what does that mean?
I'll just make a few phone calls.
Right now?
Probably as soon as you're done. Maybe not right now.
Got it. So what I hear you saying is we're going to hope that someone still is shaking their boots and like, I'm going to give that 30,000 right now. They're out there, they're waiting. When we're done, they're going to raise their hand. And we won't even need you to call anybody, right? Because we'll have that match. It's a joke. It's kind of a joke. Trust me, I'm going somewhere. That's a joke. But the answer is we're going to try to get it now, and then we might need you to call friends like, so yes, beautiful. I like where your head's at. Is there a deadline? In my mindset, we were going to do this right now, so we weren't going to need to call a friend, but
7 days.
7 days? Perfect.
7 años. Is that yours? I'm working on my Espanol.
Share one thing. Just to put it in perspective of how far this money goes, right? So $20,000 approximately is what it costs our organization to completely investigate a case, raid the case, prosecute the bad guys. So with a 30,000 matching, And if you hit that, you're talking about 3 raids, on average 6 to 8 girls rescued and bad people going away.
25 people stay.
Yeah. You're talking, that is real people, that is reality.
Very cool. So, where's that 30,000 here? You want to go with the match off the door? No? Okay.
Yeah.
You imagine how good that would feel to bid that right now? Can you imagine? You'd have some endorphins flowing like milk and honey. Okay, moving right along. That's a lot. How about 15,000? We get 2 at 15 to be done? Anybody? By the way, I'm going to keep moving down. So while you're going, what, bro? Seriously? In front of everybody, you're making me not ready? No, I got a number. I'm moving down. Don't worry. We're trying to get the match, and we can get that with 2 people at 15,000. Or he came around the corner hot. Was that you? No, okay, no. Okay. By the way, this is me just, I'm holding all the pressure right now. I'm the one that's asking this, and everyone's looking at me like some good-looking people just staring at me. Okay. 10,000. I'm not saying we're going to get 3, but is that someone's number? You're like, I'm in. I want to give big. I'm in the room. You can nod at me. You can raise your hand. I got a number. I'll keep moving down, obviously, but I always want to ask because you never know where someone's at. Maybe they, even before they got here, thought, I actually want to give somebody that. I really do. 10,000. Is that number for anybody? I'm going to cut it in half again. Don't worry. I thought 10,000 was coming up over here on my left side, but it wasn't.
Oh, did we have someone start?
No.
Oh, Paul, come on here. Yeah. So we want to just so you know, because it's not appropriate to say it. So Paul, go ahead. Okay, I'll say it. Okay, so the match is 10,000 for Paul. Everyone get Paul around hands. 10,000 for Paul. We got 10,000 for Zane, and then Melanie and I are giving 10,000 as well. So that, in case you're wondering where that Paul was mentioning, that's where the 30,000 is coming from. That's already committed.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're matching up to that much there. I was at 10, but thank you for that. Very nice, very good information. $5,000. I'll cut it in half. I got $5,000 right here. Big noise. I have a photographic memory. I'll never forget you. I don't have your bidding card number right now. No. Anyway, anybody else? I know that probably felt pretty good. Anybody else want to throw up a little 5G? 5 cool G's. That's a cool G is $1,000 for some of you older folk. I'm getting older too. Hurts, cuts like a knife. But it feels so right. Like little Brian Adams, I threw it there for some of you anyway. That was free. Or 5,000. That's you. Anybody? Good. Yeah, I told you I'm working on comedy. I'm hitting a few laughters. Nice. All right. I got.
For you who might be watching this content and maybe want to be inspired to come to one of our next events so that you too can really be intentional about your family, about your wealth, and about looking at multiple generations of impact. Thank you so much. If you want to learn more about us, go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, go to Build It to Billions YouTube channel, and go to Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel, and we'll talk to you real soon.